Okay. Achsikskanatoni. Pleasant morning. It is a warm 10:30ish a.m. Sunday morning on May 12th, 2019 in the lunar cycle Matsi Kapisakisam, the frog moon. And I'm out here at Cottonwood Park for my second jaunt of the morning. I was out here earlier with one of my students doing a walk and talk. I normally do my Sunday morning walk and talks at Spopikimi at the wetlands about 8 o'clock in the morning. But there's some plants growing along the coulee slopes right now that you just don't see much of around the wetlands. So decided to come out here for that, and was not disappointed that we did, because the scenery this morning was just gorgeous. As it was starting to warm up, we saw deer crossing the river right at the juncture of the St. Mary's and the Old Man. We saw just a little bit upstream below the cliffs, there's this beaver is just like lounging about drifting about in the river, checking this shoreline, checking that, but not seeming to be in any hurry to do anything. I don't know if it was a younger beaver on his way to trying to find a new place to live. Looking up and downstream, there might be a beaver lodge, some distance upstream, but it's quite a ways. And I don't know if this one was from that lodge or not. And it's odd that he would be out just drifting around in the middle of the day, or it seems odd to me. But any case, we saw that beaver, and then a lot of the flowers are up, and especially around the golden beans, there's a lot of pollination activity and several different pollinators. And I, didn't get any documentation of them yet, but that's kind of one of the reasons I'm back out here. The other reason is that I want to show you guys some plants and maybe check in on Mandy's den, that kind of thing. We did see a rattlesnake this morning as we were coming back up toward the parking lot. We encountered one, and it was just doing its its thing where when it first sees you, it freezes. No, that's not a young snake. That's quite a mature snake, actually. Yeah, so we've just been hiking around and come across this rattlesnake. As we were coming up the hill here by the parking lot, I saw him kind of moving a little bit, and he saw me at the same time. It's a male, I think, just looking at the coloration of it. Yeah, he saw me at the same time. So right now he's employing his camouflage, sit silent, sit quiet. Maybe I don't see him. This is the technique he's using right now. He's just gonna sit still and hope that I pass, which I will. I'm gonna give him his space so I don't have to make him curl up and get rattly. But yeah, you can see how they act when they first see you approach. They just, even on the move, they're just gonna sit right where they're at and just wait and see what happens next. So yeah, we gave that snake its birth and moved around. But I wanted to show you guys some of the plants that I was showing my student this morning. And I know right in this stretch here, I think, where there's what do we call it, buckbrush, there's a couple of good examples of some of the plants I want to show. Yeah, here we go. I wanted to have these two side by side. Remember in Riverstone the other day when I was doing this first rattlesnake release, I picked up this plant, this Mucinian. It's a wild parsley, and I uprooted it and showed that you could eat the root and the plant itself. Now that one, let's take one of its leaves just so we have it for comparison. This is the leaf of this species, right? Okay, so here in Cottonwood Park we have a very closely related species, another wild parsley, another what I would call a Mucinian, and that's this plant here. Very much kind of the same flower, yellow umbrella flower, but the leaf is much more, looks like what you would recognize as parsley, right? Many more tiny little leaflets and such. And it definitely tastes like the parsley that you'd get as a side to a meal or something like that. The little twig of parsley tastes like parsley. So this is the other plant. This is the other Mucinian, and you can also pick the root. In fact, I have brought my root digger, so maybe I should show you right now what the root of this one looks like. It's quite similar to the first one. Let me set up here real quick. Boom, boom. Dig up this one sample. Yeah, this time I remembered to bring my good digging stick. Modern digging stick, aka crowbar. This one's got much more of a kind of a classic tap root. Doesn't have the big bulb that the other one had. Use it the same way, you know. Can slice it up into coins, dry it that way, rehydrate it when you need it. You could dry it as is, you know, shave it across a cheese grater, make powder with it, make a kind of a parsley root flour, thicken soups and stews. This doesn't taste like parsley. This tastes like a bland, starchy, you know, starch root. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's like gathering bitterroot or something, you know. Need a lot of them to make anything with them, but in the past you made do with what you had, you know. Survival out here. Let's go check in at Mandy's den. Still nobody present at Mandy's den. I'm starting to think that perhaps that hole has been abandoned because of maybe the attention that it's been shown over the last year since my release of Mandy there. I know that there's been other people visiting it. I've seen evidence of it. Including somebody who tried to like block off the hole with a rock. So I don't know. I suspect the snakes have just let that one be. All right, so we're going down the hill here, ultimately to a low pasture where I'm going to show you the yellow bells, but along the way there's at least one other plant that I've got my eye out for, and that is the yellow prairie violet. So we shall see. Okay, I have just stepped onto the yellow bell meadow, and I see some coming up that I'll show you. But first, I thought I'd look at this plant here with the feathery leaf. These are the old tops from last year. This plant is called yarrow, and it is worldwide well-known anti-inflammatory. You just use it as a kind of a poultice, grind it up. You can kind of steep it in some hot water, smush it together, grind it up, what have you, make a poultice of it, and put it on just about any kind of inflammation, anything from a mosquito bite, bee sting, up to sprains and even broken bones and this kind of thing. They used to use it in the Greek army for broken bones. So it's quite something. I've seen the plant in action. I've used it before and it works. It takes the swelling down really quick. So that's one to have in your, if you want to have a natural herbal medicine cabinet. Getting yourself some yarrow. You can pick it and dry it, rehydrate it in hot water later, or you could pick it and freeze it just as it is. And let's look over here at some yellow bells. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Little yellow flower bent over, like a little bell-shaped flower bent over, and they grow quite a bit up in this meadow here, but and they have an edible root. I'll pick one. However, I never really harvest much. I might just have one or two bulbs a season, just to have had them in me as part of my lifestyle. But this is a plant that is really highly affected by over harvesting, and you can over harvest it real easy, and I think that's why we don't have very many of them in Lethbridge. So if you come across it, don't overuse it. I've always wanted to kind of experiment with the seeds, and I never have, but it'd be something to see if you could garden it and then use the bulb. It's kind of like well, it's not exactly like camas, but I'll show you what it is. It's kind of a lily-like bulb. There used to be a lily in the forest in Oregon that I would pick. It was a rice bulb lily, and it reminds me a lot of this plant here. In the same way, like all these lily-like plants that you can harvest the bulbs of, they are very, very susceptible to over harvest. So yeah, this is the bulb here, and it's got kind of a consistency of like a wet rice cake. But you can eat it, fresh out of the ground like this. Pull this up. Yeah, you can have it fresh out of the ground like this, or of course you can cook it. You can dry it, you can freeze it. The usual, you could probably can these guys, maybe even pickle them. It has a really kind of fresh flavor. I don't know if you've ever eaten different lily bulbs, but it's fresh, and it has that, that kind of puffed rice, but moist, consistency. So that is a yellow bell, and we'll head back up the hill and look for the yellow prairie violet, and maybe some pollinators along the way. Yeah, just along the trail here, I've come across several examples of the yellow prairie violet that I wanted to show. That is this plant here, this little guy, and it's another edible, like all the violets, well, violets and violas in general. You can eat them, flowers and greens. I don't know about roots, probably roots too, but flowers and greens you can eat just as a vegetable, you know. There's lots of it growing on the slopes. I don't necessarily pull the whole plant. I have in the past, but you know, you can find plants like that where you can pull a few leaves and you can still leave the rest of the plant to do its propagating. Should be some wild onions starting to come up out here too. We saw some this morning, but we'd gone further out over the cliffs, and out that way they were just starting to come into flower. Their flowers weren't even open yet, but they were forming. Anyway, onward. So there you saw a few of the pollinators I was talking about. There were others here this morning too. I wish I had filmed some of them. There was one that was like looked like a bee mimic fly, pretty sure, but it had wasp-like wings. It was pretty interesting. Next time I see it, for sure I'll put a little camera on it. One of the other things that we saw this morning was this like mysterious little pile of ant bodies. You know, it was maybe like this big around, and it was just absolutely just dead ants. You know, maybe even just pieces of dead ants. It was the weirdest thing. It looked like a war scene or something, like somebody had dropped a bomb into the ant world and just nuked a little community, and they all fried there. I have no idea what might have happened. But again, I missed the filming opportunity. I got to stop doing that. I'll be looking for another example of that mystery though in the future, that's for sure. Anyway, gonna head over to Mahoney's now and see if she wants to maybe go for a walk at the pond. Calling this an actual day off for me. Well, not entirely. I got to go set up a skunk trap a little later, but a mostly day off for me. So gonna see if Mahoney wants to go to the pond. On the way there though, I'm going to show you something really cool that I noticed this morning, that very much surprised me. So let's go check it out. As it turns out, before we get to go see the surprising new feature on the way home, I have a rattlesnake call to attend to here in Riverstone. So it's a good thing we were already on this side of the west side and can scoot right in. The fellow who called it in says it's sitting underneath his truck. Yeah, just sitting in the shade underneath his truck. He says it's a little one, but you know, the golf course thought they had a little one yesterday too. It was a full-blown mature snake. So we'll see what we have when we get there. Just a little one? Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. I might need a different tool.
Just shade underneath the front of it.
Oh yeah, he's not small, but not tiny small. This is at least a 3-year-old snake.
Oh, it is, okay.
See if we can get him with the hook. He might not cooperate.
I can't see it. Bring it out in the sun. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Good morning.
That's a first.
I would have thought a 3-year-old snake would be.
How's it going, bud?
Good.
I noticed someone walking around.
Kai Street, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
You might remember an interview from him last summer or so.
That was. Things are much better, so
Yeah, cool.
everything's good. I just noticed a guy walking around with a refrigerator out here, so it had to be you.
That's
so.
me. That's me. I'm just about to do a rattlesnake release right here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got a family walking their dog, even though we got signs out that it's rattlesnake habitat.
I actually just noticed that when I was walking by. That's the first time I noticed that sign here. So I haven't seen any rattlesnakes in this area,
Oh yeah,
but I know that they're out here. So
yeah, they're here.
do you have a male,
I just picked this
female?
guy up just at the end of the strip here.
I
in
just
those
literally
houses.
was walking by there, so
Yeah,
you got
on
it
that-
just
in
time,
that in
so.
that neighborhood. Yeah, I'm not sure this is a younger one, so we're gonna open it up and see if I can get a better bead on gender or anything. But this is maybe a 3-year-old snake.
3?
Yeah, probably a 3, maybe 4 years old.
Do you mind if I get a photo of it?
No, not at all. Just gonna guide it down this.
I really like your snake box.
Oh, it's a pretty cool snake box. It's just
Woohoo.
chilling in there. It's just chilling. Just relaxing.
Oh, there she is. It's a little guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a male.
So is that technically a neonate or no?
No. This is at least a 3-year-old.
Really?
Maybe even a 4-year-old snake. Yeah, a lot of people think the snakes are going to be bigger than they are. Yeah, well, those signs that say that this is snake habitat, they don't lie.
There is a lot here.
Yeah.
Now this wouldn't have come from the same den as the one over by the university, or?
No. There's several dens here in Riverstone.
Bye bye.
Yeah, he'll figure out that he's got a way out, and then he's just gonna zoom down the hole.
Bye bye. He doesn't feel like cornered.
Oh, he does, but he's protected. He's got his back against the wall. You
Yeah.
know, anything that comes in now is gonna get bit. Probably you're not gonna be able to hear it above the hum of the electrical stuff and the little wind gusts that come through. But out here on these farm fields, somewhere there's a little pocket of moisture enough that it's got the male chorus frogs singing, trying to attract a female their way, thinking they can reproduce there. So it's a little pocket of a puddle somewhere in there. You know, the amphibians are pretty crazy here. Like, they can kind of speed up their development of their somehow tadpoles and stuff. They can speed up the development on these prairie potholes. And then there's other situations, like somebody sent me this image yesterday on Facebook from the blood reserve, where they had found this crazy looking salamander, wanted to know what it was, and I was looking at it, I was like, gee, I'm not sure what that is. Like, is that some kind of a mud puppy we don't know about living here? Because really there's only supposed to be 2 salamanders in Alberta. But I asked a couple of friends, and it turns out it is a tiger salamander, which is one of the salamanders that lives here, but that tiger salamander is often terrestrial, like the one that I have at my house. But if the waters are adequate, it can decide to just live out its life in the waters and become an adult there and reproduce there and stay aquatic. And so it has a different looking body when it's aquatic compared to like the one at my house that I call Taco Jr. you know. Much different look to them, but it's the same species. So wild stuff among the amphibians. It was a little bit odd, but not really, to run into Kai Street at that Riverstone drop-off. For those of you who remember from last year, Kai was a fella from Calgary who had, I don't know, he'd gotten depressed and stuff, and he ended up purposely having himself envenomated by not one, but two different snakes. The second one was, I think the second one was a prairie rattlesnake. One of them was, anyway. And he's been following the channel for a while. He's expressed, interest in working with snakes. He's even thought about trying to start up a service like I offer here, but in Medicine Hat. And now he's kind of relocated himself down to Lethbridge. I've seen, through Facebook, he's been here for a few weeks. So, yeah, I don't know what to think about the whole, whether, like, what's going to happen with Kai, whether his relationship with the venomous animals is healthy yet, but let's hope so. I'm thinking, I went back to the house to see if Mahoney wanted to go, take a walk, and she's gonna be with family, I guess, for the afternoon and evening, some of her sisters and stuff, and so I've got the afternoon off. I think I'm gonna probably connect with Kai and see if he wants to go do something, maybe go back to Riverstone and take a walk around, take a little adventure, see if we can find some rattlesnake holes that I don't know about, some dens. I also like to look for, we should start seeing black widows now, and I've never found a scorpion yet, but they are here, and I wouldn't mind trying to find one of those. So maybe Kai's up for an adventure and we can go out for a little hike. But first, I did want to come here and finish off what I told you I'd do, show you the surprising thing. And the surprising thing is just on a pole just up here. This is the female. When I was getting here, the male was here, but he winged off in that direction. And this is I'm gonna get my other camera out here and show you a better view of her shortly here. But this is an osprey, and they've chosen to build a nest here. I don't know why. Looking around the area, it doesn't look like osprey area. Now ospreys do, regularly visit Lethbridge, and they do nest in areas in the region, but one of their requirements is a lot of access to fish, because they have 100% fish diet. And so, we don't really have that many fish here in Lethbridge. However, these guys, this osprey couple, must have kind of scoped around at some of the different neighborhood ponds. Like, I'm pretty sure her husband winged off toward Nicholas Sharon Park, which has a sizable pool in it. And I know just over here in the Copperwood neighborhood out this way, that new neighborhood, they've put in a couple of nice ponds. That's where I did that muskrat catch going into the winter. So they must have kind of looked around at the different opportunities and decided that it was good enough to give her a shot. So they need enough food to be able to feed both themselves and maybe 3 babies to come. We'll see. I'm gonna kind of monitor. They may have nested up here a few years in a row and I just never even noticed, but this morning, for whatever reason, I noticed the both of them sitting there at the nest, and I was like, holy smokes, that's a pair of osprey. What's going on here? So it's new to me, and I'm probably gonna watch it and see what happens. But for the afternoon here, let's go see if we can link up with Kai and have a little coolie adventure. You can see the difference in her coloration from the male that we saw earlier.
I was just gonna say, like, what what's the main differences? Because I know you can tell by the tail size.
Yeah.
And usually the color.
Yeah, the color and tail are what I mainly go by. Oh, there's two of them there.
There's two?
Three, actually. Yeah. Yeah, there's two more here. There he goes.
Yeah.
See, I think this is where people get the long grass idea about snakes. Because, you know, certain species like these wandering garter snakes might use it as a way to get away from an enemy, you know?
Yeah.
But rattlesnakes generally don't.
And that's the thing you always think, you know, snakes hiding in the tall grass.
Yeah, that's what people believe. That being said, probably the closest I've ever come to being bitten by a snake
Got him.
has been in the long grass.
He's right in there. It helps when you have more than one person here.
Yeah. Okay, so Kai and I are back in Riverstone, where we've been.
Again.
Yeah, we went out exploring, looking for new snake dens and scorpions and the like, and we saw a couple of rattlesnakes while we were out there, and garter snake. Then we went out to check out the top of Popson Park, where some of the development's going on next to the...
It's over here.
What's that? Yeah.
Thank you.
And now we've been called back to the path along Riverstone, between Riverstone and Paradise. There's a snake off the trail, so gonna see if it's a same snake from earlier, and either or get him off the way of the path. Oh yeah, I see him.
Oh, there he is. Oh yeah, that's definitely not the one from earlier.
We'll see.
Enjoying the weather.
Yeah, coming up.
Oh, he likes you.
Looking at the old area for hunting, and now there's no plants up there.
Now it's confused.
Just want to see if he's got the same markings as the one from before. I don't think so.
This one looks slightly bigger.
How old
Yeah.
would his one be, Ryan?
This is probably a 5-year-old, 6-year-old snake. Yeah, it's not that same 3-year-old.
He's already straight.
He's not very startled.
Neither is Ryan.
It's a day at the office for him, right?
So yeah, it's another day. Well, she'll bite me if I touch her. She's ready to go, you know, but she's just conserving energy. It looks like a female. I'm gonna be really rude, and I'm gonna pick you up and bring you over there down into the coulee.
You guys want to pet it?
We'll get the snake stick or the camera ready to go with the snake stick.
Going for a ride.
That's pretty cool. See ya.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Can I put you down here? Trust you'll stay away from the path. Don't come back my way. Go down that way. There you go. See you, girl. Should have probably got a picture of her for the photo database. Not thinking. Coming on towards 6:30 in the evening now, and my energy level is waning. Had a good afternoon with Kai, hiking around the Riverstone coulees. I used to live in Riverstone, of course, and those coulees there are just fabulous, and they're full of stuff to learn from and investigate. And we were particularly out for things venomous, you know, snakes, black widows, scorpions. Found some snakes. I also got that snake call at the end. That was kind of a cool way to cap it off. I'll probably visit with Kai a little bit more. He might become a long-term feature here in Lethbridge. I don't know. Here or Medicine Hat, if he decides to like follow up on his dream and try to establish a program like this there. But yeah, I liked hanging out with him, so I'll probably spend some more time. For right now, I'm at the house. Got to pick up Oscar. Oscar comes with me on my Saturday night visits here with Mahoney. And I got to pick up Oscar to go back to the apartment. Probably take with us Roly Poly, who's our male dog, our male Chihuahua. One of his sisters is in heat. And we really don't need any more, you know, puppies to try to move right now, so I'm going to take Rolly away for a couple of weeks to stay with me and Chelsea while his sister goes through that. And we'll see if anything else pops up this evening. If not, this might be endgame for the video, but who knows.